Okay, so it is Wednesday the 13th of May today, and we're reading chapter 10, which is called The White. They said I could take him out in his wheelchair every Sunday so long as I didn't tire him, so long as he was back by supper. As Bertie said, it was just like our Sundays had been when we were little. There was only one place we could go to, a small village only a mile away. There wasn't much left of the village, a few streets of battered houses, a church with its steeple broken off halfway up, and a cafe in the square, thankfully still intact. I would push him in his chair some of the way, and he would hobble along with his stick when he felt strong enough. Mostly we would sit in the cafe and talk, or walk along the river and talk. We had so many years to catch up on. He hadn't written, he told me, because he thought that each day at the front might be his last, that he might be dead by sunset. So many of his friends were dead. Sooner or later it had to be his turn. He wanted me to forget him, so that I wouldn't know when he was killed, so that I wouldn't be hurt. What you don't know, you don't grieve over, he said. He had never imagined that he would survive, that he would ever see me again. It was on one of our Sunday outings that I noticed the poster across the street on the wall of what was left of the post office. The colours were faded and the bottom half had been torn away, but at the top the print was quite clear. It was in French, Cirque Merlot, it read, and underneath Le Prince Blanc, white prince, and just discernible a picture of a lion roaring, a white lion. Bertie had seen it too. "It's him," he breathed. "It has to be him." With no help from me, he was out of his wheelchair, stick in hand, limping across the street towards the cafe. The cafe owner was wiping down the tables outside on the pavement. "The circus," Bertie began, pointing back at the poster. He didn't speak much French, so he shouted in English instead. "You know, lions, elephants, clowns." The man looked at him blankly and shrugged, so Bertie started roaring like a lion and clawing the air. I could see the alarmed faces at the window of the cafe, and the man was backing away, shaking his head. I ripped the poster off the wall and brought it over. My French was a little better than Bertie's. The cafe owner understood me. "Ah," he said, smiling with relief. "Monsieur Merlot, le cirque. C'est triste, très triste." And he went on in broken English. "The circus. He is finished. Sad, very sad. The soldiers, you understand, they want beer and wine, and girls maybe. They do not want the circus. No one comes, and so Monsieur Merlot, he have to close the circus. But what can he do with all the animals? He keep them. But the shells come. More and more they come, and his house, how you say it? It is bombarded. Many animals are dead, but Monsieur Merlot he stay. He keep only the elephants, the monkeys, and the lion. The White Prince. Everyone loved the White Prince. The army. They take all the hay for the horses. There is no food for the animals, so Monsieur Merlot, he take his gun and he have to shoot them. No more circus. Finish. Triste. Très triste." "All of them?" cried Bertie. "He shot all of them?" "No," said the man. "Not all. He keep the White Prince. He could not shoot the White Prince, never. Monsieur Merlot, he bring him from Africa many years ago. Most famous lion in all of France. He loved the lion like a son. That lion, he make Monsieur Merlot a rich man. But he is not rich no more. He lose everything. Now he have nothing, just the White Prince, it is true. I think they die together. Maybe they die already, who knows?" "This Monsieur Merlot," Bertie said. "Where does he live? Where can I find him?" The man pointed out of the village. 7, maybe 8 kilometres, he said. "It is an old house by the river, over the bridge and on the left. Not too far, but maybe Monsieur Merlot he is not there no more. Maybe the house is not no more. Who knows?" And with a last shrug, he turned and went indoors. There were always army lorries rumbling through the village, so it was not at all difficult to hitch a ride. We left the wheelchair behind in the cafe. Bertie said it would only get in his way, that he could manage well enough with his stick. We found the house and mill house just over the bridge where the cafe owner had said it would be. There wasn't much left of it. The barns all around were shell blasted, the ruins blackened by fire. Only the main house still had a roof, but it too had not gone unscathed. One corner of the building had been holed and was partially covered by canvas that flapped in the wind. There was no sign of life. Bertie knocked on the door several times, and there was no answer. The place frightened me. I wanted to leave at once, but Bertie would not hear of it. When he pushed gently at the door, it opened. Everything was dark inside. I did not want to go in, but Bertie took me firmly by the hand. "He's in here," he whispered. "I can smell him." And it was true. There was a smell in the air, pungent and rank, and to me, quite unfamiliar. "Qui est là?" said a voice from the darkness of the room. "Qu'est-ce que vous voulez?" He spoke so quietly that you could hardly hear him over the rush of the river outside. I could just make out a large bed under the window at the far end of the room. A man was lying there, propped up on a pile of cushions. "Monsieur Merlot?" Bertie asked. "Oui?" As we walked forward together, Bertie went on, "I am Bertie Andrews. Many years ago you came to my farm in Africa and you bought a white lion cub. Do you still have him?" As if in answer, the white blanket at the bottom of the bed became a lion, rose from the bed, sprang down and was padding towards us, a terrible rumble in his throat. I froze where I was as the lion came right up to us. "It's all right, Millie, he won't hurt us," said Bertie, putting an arm round me. "We're old friends." Moaning and yowling, the lion rubbed himself up against Bertie so hard that we had to hold on to each other to stop ourselves from falling over. Okay, question 1. Why is Bertie in a wheelchair? Question 2. Why did Bertie begin acting like a lion? On page 87. Question 3. What did the cafe owner say had happened to many of the circus animals? Question 4. What had happened to the circus? And question 5. Why do you think Millie froze when the lion came to them? Those are your sentence stems. Answer in full sentences, please. Okay, well done. So Bertie's in the wheelchair because he's still recovering from the injuries he got during the war. If you can remember, he was shot in the leg, so he's still recovering from that. Okay, Bertie began acting like a lion as he was trying to get the cafe owner to understand what he meant, and he didn't speak very good French, so he was trying to act it out. The cafe owner said that many of the circus animals had been shot as there was not enough food to keep them alive. If you remember, he said that the soldiers had taken the hay for their horses. All right. The circus has finished as the soldiers didn't want to see it. They wanted beer and wine. They didn't want to watch the circus. And I think Millie froze because she was scared of the lion. He had a terrible rumble in his throat, which may have scared her, especially if you're not used to being around lions because they're very big. Okay, so your 3 brain power questions are 6. Why do you think Bertie said that he didn't need his wheelchair anymore? Use your inference skills and page 91 to help you. Okay. Millie said that the house scared her and that she didn't want to go in. Why do you think that is? Use the text on page 91 and 92 to support your answer. And how do you think the lion felt when he was reunited with Bertie? Which part of the text gives you this impression? Pause this for a minute, have a go at answering those 3 questions and pop your answers for me. Okay, good job. So, why do you think Bertie said he didn't need his wheelchair anymore? Let me get the pen to identify where it was. Okay, we left the wheelchair behind in the cafe. Bertie said it would only get in the way. So I think Bertie said he didn't need... That's not his stick, that should say wheelchair, sorry guys. I think Bertie said he didn't need... Not been... What's going on here? He didn't need his wheelchair anymore because it would only get in the way and that he could manage well enough with his stick. If you think back to when he was in hospital, okay, he was being wheeled around, he's almost kind of, he didn't really have anything to live for. He was injured, and where you think now Millie's come along and he's also had a glimmer of hope that the white lion might still be alive. He has found that fire in his tummy again. He has found his determination that we saw at the start of the book when he was a child. We have seen that. So I think he's feeling really determined now. Okay. So, question 7. Millie said that the house scared her and that she didn't want to go in. Why do you think that? Okay, so I think the house scared Millie as, well, it says here, the place frightened me. Okay, I wanted to leave at once, but Bertie would not hear of it. Let's have a look. So there was no sign of life. So I think the house scared Millie because, or as, no one was living there. Okay. Everything was dark inside. There was a smell in the air. An unfamiliar smell. And you know that if you go somewhere and something's unfamiliar, if it's a new place or you're not familiar with your surrounding, it makes you feel quite uncomfortable. Okay, so you could use all of that underlined vocabulary, all of those underlined phrases to describe the house. Okay. And question 8, how do you think the lion felt when he was reunited with Bertie? Which part of the text gives you that impression? Okay, so you've got Bertie put his arm around Millie. So moaning and yowling, the lion rubbed himself up against Bertie. Okay, didn't just rub himself up against him gently. He rubbed him so hard that they had to hold each other to stop themselves from falling over. Bertie and Millie did. Okay, so that is almost, that little bit there, that little bit of text there, is almost like the lion and Bertie are giving each other a hug. Okay, so think about how that felt. It must have felt brilliant, okay, or it must have felt great when he was reunited with Bertie. Okay, I think this because in the text it says he went and rubbed himself up against Bertie as if he was giving him a big hug. Okay, send your answers over, email them over if you can, guys, for us to see. Thank you.
Hi Class 4, hope you're all okay and ready to go through yesterday's Do It and Secure It. So your task was to look at the pictogram and try and complete the table. Hopefully you looked at the key straight away and realised that each animal represented 2 children. So half an animal would represent 1. Okay, so if we look first at our dog, we've got 2, 4, 6. Our cat, we've got 9 because we've got 8 and then we've got half the cat, which is 1. We've got 3 children with fish, 7 children with rabbits, and 4 children with hamsters. Okay, you are then asked how many children in the class have pets. Okay, now you could have done this by counting, so you could have gone like 2, 4, 6, etc. Or you could have simply added the numbers we've got here. So you've got, there's 10, and there's another 10, 20, 9. Okay, so whichever way you did it, as long as you got 29, you are correct. Well done. If you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh, I didn't get this, I'm really confused, send me an email and I'm more than happy to go through it with you. Okay, guys? Okay, so for your Secure It yesterday, you've got the favourite sweets and you've got the scale there, the key. I've realised now I put scale, but that should have been the key. Okay, so the blue one represents 2 sweets, this one represents 2 sweets, and this one represents 2 sweets. Okay, so Katie says 2 people said their favourite sweets were toffees. Is she correct? Explain your answer. So we can see here that there's 2 toffees. Now Katie has then took that as 2 and she's not looked at her key because each sweet represents 2. So actually 4 children's favourite sweets were toffees, because and Katie got this wrong because she didn't look at the key, because each sweet represents 2. If you've explained it like that or in some form, then brilliant, well done you. Okay, so today we're going to explore using tables to create bar charts. Now, this is a table. Do you notice anything about the table that we might use at school? Okay, it's got a name. Have a think. Okay, so it's called a tally chart. So at school, when we put our house points on, we do this, don't we? Yeah? Why do we go like that then? What does that represent? Why have they crossed out here? Why have they done that? Any ideas? Have a think. Okay, so they do that because that represents 5. So if you've got lots to count, it makes it a lot easier because you can just count in 5s. Okay? So have a look then at the table. What sort of questions could you ask about the data shown? Maybe write one down or think of one in your head, then come back when you're ready. Okay, so you could have asked things like, how many people holidayed in the UK? How many people took part in the survey? How many more people went to the UK than they did to the rest of the world? Anything like that would have been a really good question, and all of these things can be answered using the table. Okay, I'd like you to have a go in your books at writing 17 as a tally. Hopefully you've had a go, and it should look something like this. So you've got a group of 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. Okay, guys? So we're going to create a bar chart using the information in the table. So the title of our bar chart is Colour of Cars Passing the School. And we've got silver, red and blue, okay? And we've got the numbers there. The first thing we need to think about is what scale are we going to use and what title are we going to give to our axis, okay? Have a think and then come back when you're ready. Okay, let's start by giving our axes their titles. So we've got silver, red and blue, and they are obviously the colour of the cars. And then at the side, it's the number of cars passing the school. So number of cars and colour would have been brilliant titles. Now, for your scale at the side, I've gone for 20s. You might have thought differently. That is fine, okay? Now, to represent the numbers, let's have a little look. So I've coloured in here just past, so I've gone halfway would have been 30, it's about there, and then an extra half for that 5, so that's my 35. Then I'm on the line for 40, and then again we've got our halfway point, which is 50, and then half again for 55. Okay, I'm hoping that makes sense to you. Another way you could have done it is you could have had your scale going up in tens, but again, it would have been a lot bigger, so it would have made it easier to go up in your 20s. Okay, let's go through your do it then, guys. Okay, so your job today is to create a bar chart called livestock. So livestock is representing the animals maybe that they've got on a farm. So you need to read the tallies to find out how many goats, sheep and pigs they've got. You need to decide what titles you're going to give your X and Y axis. And then you need to work out what scale, and then you need to colour it in, okay? Good luck with this. If you're looking at this and thinking, I haven't got a clue how to do this, or I don't have a ruler to draw the bar chart, don't panic. Just write down the total shown by the tallies, and then write what your axis titles would be and what scales you'd use, okay? That would be fine too. And if you're still confused, send me an email and I will go through it with you. Okay, you'll secure it today. You've got some information in a table for the number of tickets sold for a concert. And now Jack has decided to create a bar chart to represent the number of concert tickets sold during the week. Okay, so he's given the days of the week at the bottom, and he's gone up 0 to 6. Do you think Jack's scale is appropriate? Would there be a better one? And is there anything else missing from the bar chart? So that might sound like a lot, but I think when you look at it, it will become really clear. So you're looking at the number of tickets sold. So is that appropriate? Big clue there, guys. All right. Any problems, send me an email and we will go through the answers tomorrow. Okay, good luck. Bye.
Hi everybody, welcome to your writing lesson for today. We're going to start with our warm-up, and our warm-up we've been looking at adverbial phrases, okay? So today I've got something a little bit different for you because I haven't got complete sentences. I'd like you to spot the adverbials or word phrases that could be used as adverbials from the list that we've got. So remembering that adverbials tell us how, when, where or how often something happens, have a little look here and try and identify the adverbials. Okay, so suddenly, bright red lipstick, quite carefully, very softly, extremely loudly, unbelievably quickly, trashy television. Okay, from all of those, try and spot the adverbials, and if you're up for a little bit of an extra challenge today, Could you try and use some of those adverbials within your own sentences? Okay, so pause the video, spot the adverbials, try and use them in a sentence if you can, and then come back to me for the answers. Good luck. Okay, hopefully you managed to spot those adverbials. So almost all of them were adverbials. So suddenly, very softly, unbelievably quickly, extremely loudly, quite carefully. But bright red lipstick was not, that's a noun phrase, and trashy television was not, that's a noun phrase as well, because they're describing a thing. Lipstick and television. What you'll also notice that might have been a clue to help you spot these adverbials was lots of adverbials end in ly. Not all of them, but lots of them. So that can be something that can perhaps help you with your adverbials. So if you did the extra challenge, these are some of the things that you might have done. This might be an adverbial you chose. And if you really pushed yourself today, you might have even tried to put that adverbial at the start of your sentence. So I had a go at using so suddenly. The car stopped so suddenly. And then I had a go at using quite carefully, which I want you to put as a fronted adverbial at the start. So I said quite carefully, the boy began to perform his piano ensemble. That means his piece of music on his piano. So I hope you managed to really understand these adverbials now, because we're going to be using them later on in our writing. Okay, so let's have a look at the work that we're going to be using on speech today. So our objective today for this lesson is to write effective dialogue, okay? So we're going to be thinking not only about our lesson on Monday when we looked at how to use dialogue really well, how to use speech really well in our stories by mixing it. We're also going to be thinking about all of the rules that we practiced yesterday, and we're going to use that to help us to write some really effective dialogue today. So we're going to start with a bit of a recap. We're going to have a look at the rules for our speech from yesterday. So this was the sheep in the pen idea that we used yesterday. So we said we're going to hug the words spoken with speech marks. We're going to start the speaker's words with a capital letter. We're going to separate the speech and the reporting clause with a comma or other punctuation mark. We're going to start a new line to show the speaker's changed. And if you were really pushing yourselves yesterday, I said we could use words better than said as well. So let's have a look at this in action. Let's have a little practice. I'd like you to turn the speech bubble into direct speech using the rules to help you. So remember, so here is Harry, and Harry is saying, "Time to fly, Hedwig." So I want you to pause the video now and have a little practice, and then come back to me when you've written that one down in your workbook. Okay, so I'm hoping that you've written down something like "time to fly," said Hedwig, said Harry, Hedwig, said Harry. Hopefully not using the word "said" because that would be rubbish. And let's see if you remembered to use all of our rules for direct speech. So let's have a look at the example. "Time to fly, Hedwig," shouted Harry happily. Okay, so we've got the words that he said exactly from the speech bubble. "Time to fly, Hedwig." And if we have a look, if I've used all of the speech rules, did I hug the words spoken with speech marks? Yes, I did, because I've got "time to fly, Hedwig," and I've got speech marks before time and after Hedwig. Brilliant. Did I start the speaker's words with a capital letter? Yes, I did. My T and your T should be a capital T. Did I separate the speech and the reporting clause with a comma or other punctuation mark? Yep. I used an exclamation mark like it did in the speech bubble for me to close that, to lock the gate, remember, so the speech words can't fly out. I can't show you my new line for a new speaker because I'm only doing one of them, but did I try and use a word better than said? Yeah, I tried to use the word shouted. What I'd like you to do is have a look at your sentence that you wrote out. Did you hug the words spoken with speech marks, like I did? Did you start the speaker's words with a capital letter? Have you got that capital T? Did you separate the speech and the reporting clause with punctuation? Did you use that exclamation mark to keep the words in the pen? And did you try and use a word better than said in your sentence as well? So you can have a look at yours and mark your own using those rules to help you. And we're going to be coming back to these rules all the time this week. So if you remember on Monday, we had a little look at how to write dialogue effectively. And we read this passage together. And what we said using this passage was that there's no point having a lot of description and no speech. and there's not a point having lots and lots of speech and then no action or description because nothing happens in our stories. And what we want to write really effective dialogue is a bit of a mixture. So we want some speech, the red bits. We want some description, the green bits. And we want lots and lots of action. We want things to be happening in our story to make them super exciting for people to read. So our blue bits to show us the action in our sentences, in our passage as well. And we're going to be thinking about that today when we start to build our dialogue from what we were doing yesterday into some really effective dialogue to keep in a story. So we're going to have, so to summarise that, speech is really important because it moves the action forward. What the people say tells us a lot about their characters. A story with no speech isn't engaging because it's not very real. A story with too much speech is not engaging either because nothing happens and we don't know anything about the characters to see the pictures in our heads. So when we're using speech, like we've just said, the most effective way is to weave our speech, our action and our description together because that's what makes it interesting, engaging and moves the story on for our reader. It makes them want to read our story because it seems real life, it seems to bring it all together. So what we're going to do today is we're going to turn a film clip into a piece of dialogue. So you're going to watch this film clip here of when Harry Potter meets Hagrid for the first time. And then you're going to pause the video and make notes about what is happening on a table like this, okay? And then we're going to use that table to help us to write some effective dialogue between Harry and Hagrid, which punctuate the speech, and we're going to mix some action in it as well. So we're going to have a little look at this video first, then we're going to make our notes, and then we're going to have a go at writing some effective dialogue, okay? Okay, so this is over on the video clip, so you can clip this from your work pack, and now we're going to have a little look at just the point where Hagrid meets Harry Potter for the first time. So we're going to have a little look at just this little snippet, and then we're going to go back and try and write our speech. Here we go.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so on your table at this point, hopefully you will have written down, sorry about that, what Hagrid says, and he does that when he storms through the door, okay? So you're going to write down the speech and what happens in the video at the same time. So as an example, that would be, sorry about that, Hagrid said. And then we're looking at what happened at the same point. Well, he was storming through the door or he was putting the door back in its place, okay? And we're going to carry on, and I'd like you to carry on recording that as you go through your video today.
Demand that you leave at once, sir. You are breaking and entering. Dry up, Dursley, you great prune. Mind, I haven't seen you since you was a baby, Harry, but you're a bit more along than I would have expected, particularly round the middle.
I'm not Harry. I am.
Well, of course you are. Got something for you. Afraid I may have sat on it at some point, but I imagine it'll taste fine just the same. Baked it myself, words and all.
Thank you.
It's not.
Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. So hopefully as you were watching it, you started to write down what was said and what was happening. And we're going to go back to that video to let you have another look at it when it comes to your turn at writing as well. But we're just going to have a little look about how we turn then what we've got into our dialogue, so that when you come to do it, you've got an example of it as well. So you'll remember on the video that I said, Hagrid said, sorry about that. And what was he doing when that happened? He was breaking down the door. So what I could say, if I'm going to write it out as speech, I could start with the speech. So I'm going to start with my speech marks and my capital letter, keeping those words inside the speech marks. Sorry about that. And I'm going to use an exclamation mark because he was quite loud. and then close my speech marks again. And I'm going to say Hagrid. How did he say that? What word could he use? I don't want to put Hagrid said, Hagrid shouted, Hagrid bellowed, Hagrid rumbled, I think I'm going to use. Sorry about that. Hagrid rumbled, breaking down the door. Okay, so now I've got my speech, how he said it, and my action as well. Okay, then I'm going to have a go at the next one. So Mr. Dursley says, I demand that you leave at once. You are breaking and entering. And he's holding the shotgun tightly. So I might start this time as an alternative with what was happening. So I might start with holding his shotgun tightly. There's our adverb, isn't it? Holding his shotgun tightly. Mr. Dursley, how did he say it? Mr. Dursley said, Mr. Dursley, he didn't whisper, he did tremble a little bit, he did shout a little bit. What could I say? Mr. Dursley, I'm going to go with stuttered because he was a bit worried and that shows me that. And I'm going to open my speech marks. I demand that you leave at once. You are breaking and entering. And then I need to close my, lock my gate and close my speech marks. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be looking for from your writing today. So going back to our task, just to remind you, we're going to watch this video again now. We've watched the first one, I've given you the example. We're going to watch the video again. We're going to pause the video. I need you to pause the video as you go through and make notes in your table. What's said, what's happening. Add to them if you've already started them, or start them if you haven't. And then you're going to use that table of notes to help you to write effective dialogue, just like I've been showing you on our example. So we'll watch the video again, and then I will put this task up so you know what you've got to do today. Okay, so watch carefully and make sure you're filling in your table. Keep pausing the video every time someone says something. Write it down and write down what's happening at the same point. We've just got a 1-minute video clip to look at. Here we go.
Sorry about that. I demand that you leave at once. You are breaking and entering. Dry up, Dursley, you great prune. Mind, I haven't seen you since you was a baby, Harry, but you're a bit more along than I would have expected, particularly round the middle.
I'm not Harry. I am.
Well, of course you are. Got something for you. Afraid I might have sat on it at some point, but I imagine it'll taste fine just the same. Baked it myself, words and all.
Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. So hopefully now you've got your table written. You need to use the notes that you've made when you watch the video clip to help you write your own effective dialogue, remembering all of those rules for direct speech. If you want to, there's my example that I've just done with you that you could use to get you started. And what I'd like you to do is remember all of those rules for speech when you're writing your speech out, remembering to put those speech marks in, capital letters, punctuation marks, and using different words than said. So have a go at writing out your dialogue for today, and then we will come back and add even more to it when we work on it tomorrow. So good luck, everybody. And remember to come back to us for your connected curriculum once you're happy with your dialogue for today. So you can pause the video here and have a go at that activity. Okay, final lesson for today then is a part of your connected curriculum. Remember that you can choose which bits of this you want to do. This is in your work pack where all of the links to the videos and everything work so that you can have a little look at it. We're remembering that we've got this essential video to watch which gives you a bit of an introduction to mountains, volcanoes and earthquakes. And from that we'd like you to choose whether you're going to look at mountains or earthquakes or volcanoes. and have a little go at the different activities. Remembering there's some science experiments in the volcano one. There's an earthquake survival guide as an option in the earthquake one. And there's a diary entry type idea in the mountains one if you want to have a look at those. And with all of those, anything that you've done today, we'd really like to see what you've been up to. So please make sure that you email your teachers using the email addresses at the bottom of the screen, and then we can keep in touch with you and help you with your learning as best we can. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. And I will see you again tomorrow for some more work on our writing and our connected curriculum. See you soon, guys. Bye.